All right. We're back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. As usual, I'm your host, Mark Pierce. How you doing today? It's a Monday. Ouch. Mondays are rough, aren't they? What do we got going on today? Well, it's going to be a good week. I got the whole week planned out. I don't always have the whole week planned out, but we got some good stuff coming down the pike this week, so stick with me. We're going to skip the music news for today. We're going to keep this one a little bit on the shorter side. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say because this is a pretty epic album we're talking about. So, hope you're having a good one so far. What are we talking about today? Well, this week in 1979, this band starts recording its third studio album. We got the cover right here. It's The Clash. That epic photo right there, which we'll talk about in a minute. But The Clash start recording London Calling, this time in 1979. Interesting fact about that record, lots of interesting facts, but it was released in the UK in 1979 in December, and in the United States in January of 1980. So therefore, it is listed as the top or one of the top albums of the 70s in the UK, and the top or one of the top albums of all time of the 80s in the United States. Pretty cool, huh? So, what was happening then? The Clash already established themselves with their first two albums as a punk band, right? And they're coming off of giving them enough rope, and they haven't written a song in a year. They've got writer's block, they can't figure it out, so they end up firing their producer, which means they got to move their recording studio out of Camden Town and find a new place. So they find a new place, they get a new studio, they get a new producer. His name is Guy Stevens, and he's credited with just how this album came together for this band. This guy was a little unorthodox. He would throw chairs and ladders and try to make it like a comfortable scene, but apparently they got along well, and definitely gets a lot of credit for that. So they hadn't written any songs in a year, and so what they did is they holed up in this studio. They didn't let anyone else in there for the first time. Usually there were people allowed around, and this time they wanted to be doing this by themselves. They'd have 18-hour days. They would start recording during the day, rehearsing. They'd go play football in the afternoon. They'd go to the pub. They'd record some more, and on and on and on. So this is where they start kind of putting together more heavy influence in other types of music. They're getting a little bit away from punk, and they're starting to introduce their love of ska, reggae, rhythm and blues, rockabilly, jazz, hard rock. I mean, they even had, for the tour prior, they even had non-rock acts open up for them. So that's where it all started there. And if you listen to a lot of their music, it's definitely got that reggae ska feel to it. So it's not necessarily all punk by any stretch of the imagination. So they record these songs, and it is a double album. The record company didn't want it to be a double album. They wanted it to be a single album. So they priced it for just about a single album. Then the record company said, no, you guys can put a 12-inch in there too and just do like a couple songs. But that couple songs turned into 9 more songs, and it ended up coming out on the double album. The actual artwork itself, that iconic picture that we're talking about right there, was taken at the New York City at the Palladium. It is, for decades they thought it was on a particular date, like the 21st of whatever month. It turns out it was the night before, but he smashed his Fender bass when he was realizing that the roadies or the security were not letting the fans stand up in the crowd. So the cover itself, I'll try to post the cover. The lettering, the green and the pink, is an homage to Elvis's first album, similar graphics. Again, that album cover voted the best album cover, or one of the best album covers of all time. It was released, and universal acclaim from pretty much every critic said, this is The Clash at their best. All the hype finally came together on one record. Everyone just absolutely loved this record. A big deal. And then really the pinnacle of their career, because the stuff that would come out afterwards was only Sandinista, and then Combat Rock was really the end of the band, Combat Rock. And I do like that record, but it's very different than anything else. So let's get to the track listing. There's a lot of songs on here. We got London Calling, massive success. This album sold 5 million copies in the world and 1 million in the United States. Brand New Cadillac, that's a remake. That's a remake that they did. Great song. Jimmy Jazz, Hateful, Rudy Can't Fail. I didn't hear Rudy Can't Fail till pretty late in my Clash listening stages, but Rudy Can't Fail, love that song. That's a great song. Spanish Bombs, based on a true story. They were traveling, touring, and there was a bomb in somewhere in Spain that was set off by extremists, and that's where that song came from. The Right Profile, Last in the Supermarket, also a real life experience of him shopping in the supermarket. I think he actually even wrote some of the lyrics down on scratch paper in the supermarket. Clampdown, everyone knows Clampdown, and it's one of those songs where you don't know the name of the song, but you know the song. It's like Baba O'Reilly from The Who, because Clampdown, even though he says it, it's like you don't really know what he's saying. But, I mean, that's a great song. The Guns of Brighton, awesome song. Wrong Emboyo, right? That's the next one on that double album, I think. Death or Glory, Coca-Cola with K's. The Card Cheat, Lovers Rock, Four Horsemen, I'm Not Down, Revolutionary Rock, and then Train in Vain. Also, I mean, another song where you don't necessarily know the title. Train in Vain was added very late in the recording process. They were originally going to not have it on the album. It was supposed to be released as its own single through NME as like a giveaway. So they added it, and that deal fell through, so they added it at the end. So when they added it on the record, all the artwork was done and printed and everything, so that song is not printed on the songs on the album. They released it as a single, and it just sold 2 million copies and became huge. So if you went to go buy it on the album, it wasn't even listed. I assume they put a sticker on there. But it's not, because the rumor was that they didn't put the listing on there because it was their most commercial song and they didn't want to, they were embarrassed by it or something like that. But it's really not something as sinister as that. It's really just that it was already printed and they added it late. So this is an epic album. I mean, so many people. Sarah, by the way, does not like the Clash. She doesn't like one single Clash song. So I think the Clash are one of those bands where either you're all in or you're just totally out. I mean, there's no in between. It's not like you're like, I like that one Clash song, because it's one or the other. And I really like a ton of Clash songs, so I'm a fan. But what are we doing for Song of the Day? How do we pick something off of this album, this epic album that you must have, the number 8 album of all time? I think Rolling Stone said number 8 of all time. We're going to do the title track, London Calling, of course. That has to be it. That's a great way to start your work week, or whatever you're doing this week, trying to figure out kids' school or whatever it is you're trying to figure out. So we got London Calling. That's your Song of the Day. Turn it up. Tell me what you think of the Clash. Tell me what you think of the song. Do you listen to them? Do you like them? That's it. Looking forward to this week. And as usual, we'll see you on the flip side.